So hello and welcome everyone. It's September 28th, 2022, and we are televising live from NetSuite's SuiteWorld in Las Vegas, Nevada. My name is Andy Park. I have over 25 years in business and IT consulting experience, and I'm also co-founder of Team Central, which is a low-code integration platform as a service company. I'll be your host for today's event, and shortly I'll hand it over to Ed Harriff, who will be the MC and moderator for the event. We have an amazing panel lined up for you. Several are joining from around the globe. These folks are experts in their field and also have unique perspectives to share on how technology and low code touches their lives in what they do every day. Without further ado, I will introduce Ed Harriff, who's sitting next to me. He's president of Digital Cloud Solutions. He has an extensive background in how to apply technology to solve complex business problems. He's also a low-code evangelist. So I'll turn the mic over to you, Ed, and if you wouldn't mind introducing yourself and kicking off.
All right. Well, thank you guys very much. Yeah, my name's Edward Harriff. I'm a New Yorker who's resided in Atlanta most of my life. Atlanta, big technology capital of the South, one of them. But involved, just blessed being in the technology space since '89 and working internationally. Right off the bat with a German and Manchester-based UK development group. And it's just has been what a tremendous experience of the evolution of the in our lifespan of technology, from the mainframes to the PCs to the cell phones to ERP affordable in the business community. And as you go through all of those things, that's what's kind of led me to the no-code trends. You know, I've heard about it forever, and we heard about the cloud, a decade ago, 15 years ago. But it's come into its own. And the past year I've spent, working with companies and universities like gentlemen that I'll introduce you to in a minute. And just, what is it? And how is it? Because everybody's got that perception of well, it's been around a while and those kinds of things. And it's like, well, how does it apply today? And is it real, or is it philosophical? And so I jumped into that. And with my network, I've got thousands and thousands of contacts around the world that I've built relationships with, just because I love technology and I love helping companies. And I really appreciate Team Central putting this together and letting me reach out to all of you guys. And I can't thank you enough for being here. So enough about me. And so I'm going to go down the list here. And what I'd like you to do is introduce yourself and your company, or a little bit of your bio, and then touch on, what does no code, low code mean to you in any capacity that you would like to highlight, whether it's something that you've actually implemented, done, seen, what have you. Okay, so we'll begin with A, and I'm pleased to introduce you to Adam Shapiro.
Hi, good day, everyone. Adam Shapiro from Autopilot Workflow Solutions. And 1 minute to brag, we've just finished the Microsoft Partner Awards, and we managed to win an amazing award for the new ISV Partner of the Year in South Africa. So yeah, really, really proud of that achievement. So Autopilot is a low-code workflow automation tool. We handle internal workflows within organizations and then help organizations onboard new customers, new employees, and new vendors. And more recently, we've integrated into Teams, which has been an absolute winner for us and for our clients. We've had an interesting low-code journey. When we first started our business in 2014, We did our market research, and almost all the clients said, this is great, but we have to be able to build solutions ourselves. So we spent a year building our back end, and actually, to be honest, not that many of our clients use that back end, but it's still been a huge win for us in that we can use junior and mid-range developers to then develop solutions on our low-code base. So absolutely no regrets about joining the low-code revolution. And we're really excited to speak here today.
Congratulations. Thank you, Adam.
Good.
And next, of course, I lost my list. Who's next on the list?
Oh, we can go. Let's just. You were going to go alphabetical, or we have. Let's do Kevin. Going to go Kevin Corder maybe first.
Hey, everybody. Kevin Corder. Been with Centric Consulting for 10 years now, and been in the ERP space where I've seen a big evolution and big push to get to the cloud, and it is an area too where they're starting to leverage these concepts of no or low code by building a lot of the tools that developers, kind of the technical developers, would leverage to whether it's reporting or moving data around. These cloud applications are building them in the apps for kind of business system admins to really take their abilities and reliance on IT to the next level. So it's been really cool to see. We're a NetSuite Alliance partner, so here in Vegas, meeting new folks and talking about all the great things we do here at Centric, and super excited about this crew here. Some amazing people, so I'm excited for everybody to hear everybody's story.
Thank you, Kevin. All right, back on track. Ajay.
Hi, my name is Ajay Sharma. I work for the UC Health in Cincinnati. I'm an IT project administrator. I'm coming to you from the great state of Ohio. Of course, one of the things that I've been doing is over the last 15 years been involved in healthcare IT. I'm also a past president of the Central Southern Ohio HIMSS, and I've been on their board for over a decade now. But I've been in IT consulting for also about 25 years. And one of the things that drives me within healthcare, and especially healthcare provider IT, is being able to do more with less. One of the main things healthcare is challenged each and every day to come up with innovative and imaginative solutions for better patient care. Ultimately, that is our North Star: better patient care, better patient engagement. Those are the things that I believe we can leverage low code or no code type of applications in order to facilitate faster rollout to and deployment to patients and our providers. So that's my take on today, and I look forward to the discussion. Thank you.
Thank you, Ajay. And I'm going to say your whole name because I really worked hard at it. Kevin Kursa Dejaglu.
Yes, perfect. Yes, thank you so much. Appreciate
You're welcome.
it. Okay, great. Thank you. Well, thanks for having me. First of all, it's very exciting to be in this panel of experts in low-code technology. And thanks for Team Central for organizing this and putting this together. Much appreciated. My name is Kevin Deveji, and based in New York, and we are a global enterprise software publisher. So we are active nationally and internationally, and we have been in low-code software publishing since 1990. So we've been in this field for a long time. We have two different platforms that we offer for different business requirements. And with the low-code technology, our experience goes. We have multi-industry experience. We have clients in many different industries, as well as multicultural, because we are active nationally as well as internationally. We have clients on pretty much almost every single continent. So that's a great experience that we have, and that's a journey, as some of our colleagues introduced earlier. And it's exciting to be here. For the low code, not only we actually develop the technology and promote it nationally and internationally, we also work very close with academia. We have an internship program that we teach university students how to use low code technology in their career. So that's something that also we believe in. We believe in the future workforce, and we like to also support them via this internship program. There are many different things that we'll talk about today from different angles in terms of industries and low-code practices. I'm looking forward to further this conversation. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Kevin. Lance Kerwin.
Hello, how are you doing? Thank you for having me. My name's Lance Kerwin. I'm at Florida State University in the College of Business. Yes, this exciting season. The football team's doing well. Looking forward to our game against Wake Forest this weekend. I have 28 years of experience, starting off as a mainframer, client server, and web apps. I've done a lot of strategic work, especially around data centers, probably the last 10 years. But at Florida State, I've been on faculty for 5 years. And to build on top of what Kevin said, I'm really focused on that future workforce as well. Low code, no code to me means that our industry has made it. It's about collaborating with the people that we're solving problems with. If you go back to even when I started my career 28 years ago, you needed to have somebody that knew what a computer was if you wanted to build software. In fact, it was almost a privilege to have a computer in the 1980s and 90s, and now it's expected. And the one analogy I like to explain to my students that are coming into the workforce is if you just go back 100 years ago, to any town in the United States, you might be having a debate on whether you're going to get a car. There weren't interstates in the country. We didn't have the infrastructure in place. We had the train then. And if you go back, I think it's important that you look at the history of computing and where we're going. And low code, no code for me is a springboard into the next. My 28 years have gone by like that. So let's round it up to 30. The next 30 years, this low code, no code is the bridge into everybody being able to get the same type of skills and experiences we have. And then we can focus on collaborating and designing. But really happy to be a part of this group. Thanks for having me.
Thank you, Lance. Yeah, I don't miss dragging around a 286 in a monitor at the Delta check-in counter. Things have changed. Mr. Johnson, Mark Johnson.
How is everybody? I want to thank everybody for being on this as well. I want to thank Andy and Ed for putting this together. And I think it's just a fun event to get and kind of talk about some of these topics. But my name is Mark Johnson. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Team Central. Team Central's first product is which we call the Central Integration Platform that Andy mentioned. It's a low code, no code automation product. It's really kind of focused on data integration, data management, and really helping organizations scale their operations by, taking all the information that's needed across business process and synchronizing, connecting. The reason that this topic is of interest to me, my background, 20 plus years is more on the pro developer side. Started in industry and financial services, moved into consulting work and product work, and I fought against these tools. I felt like they were tools that kind of hindered me more than helped me. But the reality of it is, with the amount of digital transformation that's happening today, there's just not enough builders in the world. And so, to me, the reason that I was, the inspiration for building this company, or at least part of it, is, how do we create more builders? How do we make the builders that exist today more efficient and focused and on key differentiators? And so that's really why kind of being a part of the low code, no code world is something that I'm proud and excited to do.
Thank you, Mark. Michael McCulloch, Amtrak, which we thank you for keeping the rails going. So
we do what we can. Thank you. So hello, everybody. Michael McCulloch here. It is an absolute honor and privilege to be a part of this panel discussion. Unlike most everybody else that's here, I am not a developer or computer guy. My background was actually, I was in a previous life, I was in the military. And then once I got out and became normal, I got into the organizational development and improvement arena. So with that came a lot of process mapping, process improvement, Lean Six Sigma. And the one thing that I always noticed was, it's like if we could just, in trying to hash out or improve this process, if we only had this one tool or this one thing that would just get us over the edge. And up until about 10 years ago, the citizen development wasn't as available as it's starting to become. So the way that I kind of look at citizen development and how we've used it at Amtrak is it's much more than building a neat app. If you have a bad process, but you build an app to support it, you have a very efficient way of doing something poorly. For us, it's about connecting the dots, building relationships, improving our processes, all at the same time of building these really neat tools to support our business process. I have focused probably for the last 5 years on the governance side of it. So training programs, serving as an advocate for not only the developers, but the organization itself. And then, of course, helping to build credentialing and kind of the software agnostic approach to implementing citizen development. So super excited to be here and share what I know. And thank you.
Yeah, well, thank you. And definitely the governance is a key component to our topics today. So, Ryan Reibold.
Thanks for having me. Yeah, Ryan Reibold. I'm the CEO of and co-founder of a company called Payload. We operate in the fintech space, and I've been in fintech for 20 years, and we've seen significant disruption and evolution of payments, and you guys experience it every single day. And a lot of that, transformation from just having, something, reading cards on a desk to fully embedded payments. A lot of it was led by, key, fintech leaders like Stripe and Square. And yet you see this digital innovation and digitization take place when it comes to document workflow. And a lot of these financial platforms, that run these business platforms, they still have very archaic payment workflows. And so we set out on a journey 3 years ago to build a developer-centric, low code, no code toolkit to allow platforms to fully automate payment without all payments, not just on the card rails, but completely eliminate checks and wires and in a fully embedded with minimal PCI scope. And so I'm pleased to be here, kind of coming from a different angle where we've tried to build, this set of technology stack that enables low code and no code integrators to just fully embed payments and automate workflows. So I'm pleased to be here.
Thank you, Ryan. Thank you. And our last participant, Mr. Tom D'Alfonso.
Hi,
Sir?
Edward. Yeah, I'm Tom D'Alfonso. I'm an agricultural systems engineer. I work in the area of food production all my career, primarily in animal production, so chickens and pigs and cows and fish. My company, AgMine, gathers data in animal production facilities and in animal feed mills, and we apply products and know-how to improve the health and nutrition and well-being of the animals. I've used technology and integrated technology in agribusiness for a long time, and recently developed an app for human health and nutrition, helping people choose foods based on their nutritional requirements, their preferences, their health goals. And was really the light bulb went off with the no code, low code approach. So I'm a new user, very excited about it, and very excited to be on this panel. Thank you.
Well, thank you, and thank you guys for doing that. What a fantastic mix, and that was the whole point. All of you are very successful, and I find with a lot of podcasts and things, there's a lot of theory, which is good. We need theory, but we also need results. And here's the team that you guys just listened to, and this is available for recording or playback right afterwards. And I encourage all the participants to play it back and share it. So let's get to the questions. And we directed the way we did this is we wrote out some questions. I posted a few for those of you that saw on the LinkedIn. They're guiding questions. We identified names of some people that we think kind of falls into their back door, so to speak. But it doesn't mean if you don't have anything to contribute, please speak up. Just no profanity or abuse or political discussions. Okay. Okay, good. So we'll start with, what is, you've covered this, but at the same time, in a sense, what is a pro and citizen developer mean? What's the difference? And I'll start with you, Kevin. Kevin C.
Yeah, so in my world, in the kind of the business application world and enterprise apps, I mentioned it a little bit. All these cloud ERP products have some layer of a kind of UI version of the code, right? And when I think of pro versus citizen developer, I think the citizen developer is someone like me that doesn't write code, can get in there and execute on actions that in most systems somebody is in the background actually hands on keyboard writing the code. I see a lot of these tools be more point and click in nature versus kind of full blown kind of writing out lines of code, which again shows my lack of knowledge of what a pro developer does. So but I'm seeing the tools be part of the UI, the user interface, as opposed to kind of back end, got to get your development studio set up.
Okay, and Mark.
Yeah, so ironically, I was at a conference yesterday, this Chief Data Officer Summit in the Midwest, and there was a great topic around kind of federated data management. And so we have these models that exist in the data world historically, where you have these kind of monolithic data warehouses, and it's hard to get the data out. It's hard to have confidence in the data, and the shift that this whole talk was about is moving to that federated model. What was cool about it to me is to see that within that model where each business line or part of the business has both pro developers as well as citizen developers kind of embedded within it, and in allowing that process to kind of make data exchange within the organization and the ability to kind of scale new products and services faster than some of the traditional approaches. So that really kind of was a light bulb for me. But to me the maybe the difference or the way in which I think about pro and citizen developer, what was also really interesting about that talk is it really had nothing to do with tools, or it was all about process and change management in order to kind of move to that. So it's pretty interesting. But to me, the difference is really kind of around the use cases that you're trying to accomplish, and the tools and the people that are skilled in order to solve those problems. I think about the products themselves kind of on a spectrum, based on the level of control that the user has. So pro tools are going to have less levels of abstraction. You're going to have more control at lower levels, whereas citizen tools or at least, and a lot of them how they exist today, there's higher level of abstraction and less control. But I see kind of a convergence of the two, and that's what kind of made that light bulb go on yesterday. And I think the result of that is awesome. It's going to create, professional developers who are more focused and can truly kind of be heads down on differentiating things. And it's going to allow citizen developers to kind of take on more complex use cases. So that's kind of how I see both.
And Adam?
Yeah, I agree 100% with Mark, that convergence of citizen developer and pro developer certainly into one product really assists us in a couple of ways. So, the one way is that then we can use more junior, as Mark said, there's such a shortage of builders, such a shortage of skills. And if you can now use more junior developers to develop complex solutions, then we're winning. Then we leave the pro developers to do the integration and so on. But another big point that's come up for us is around clients, even though, as I said, they might not use the development tools or the low-code tools, it's almost like a gatekeeper. You can't, often our clients won't go forward unless they have got access to the low-code environment. Whether they choose to use it or not is another story. But it's almost, you need to get into the game by having the low-code environment set up.
Right. Very good. I mean, because that's just the evolution. I mean, things change, and that's the way. And if we look at Mark, you touched on a number. I mean, there's the education, the awareness, the process component that's changing the landscape. And you don't want to give COVID credit, but in a sense, it's made things accelerate quite a bit in being able to do things with less and remote. And I mean, really the world we've lived in for a long time, right? Except that now the businesses up the street have to operate that way, but it's that education, that process. And I think one of the pluses for the timing of us is that look at how tech savvy everybody is these days, right? How impatient they get when they download something and install it, and it isn't like this. When we grew up, downloading and installing something, what? Are you kidding, right? They're just elevated. So incorporating that into the business and the schools and understanding how the pro and the citizen mix is key. So we'll go on. Number 3, what does live application development, testing, and modification mean? Start with Michael.
Yeah, so that's actually a really great question. And when I was initially speaking about problem solving, critical thinking, citizen development really hits home with that. It really, one of my colleagues that I have used the phrase, it empowers bold behavior, right? And so when I think about live development, I go back to March 2020, where this big bad thing called COVID was coming to get us, and there's 60 of us sitting up in a room in DC, and we're trying to figure out, what routes we're going to keep and what incidents we have to respond to. And we've got about 900 plus facilities that we have to keep track of. So the ask was, we need a way to track COVID cases that are coming in. We need to be able to track where our employees are at, and then respond to that and display that to the executive and the board. We went to IT, and of course, no disrespect to them, it was going to take, I want to say they said 2 to 3 weeks to at least have a dashboard, and that was absolutely unacceptable because we needed it like yesterday. And so I very quietly turned to my boss at the time and I said, "Hey, listen, I've been working with this program. I think I can have this done in like a day or two. What do you think?" And she's like, "Go for it." So I literally jumped on it, started developing. As I'm developing it, I'm asking the different executives. I went to our chief of police. I'm going to the operations, the engineers. I'm saying, "Hey, what do you really need to see?" And as we're doing this, I'm able to connect all the dots and have a way for us to input the information and then display it very quickly, live, as a matter of fact. So being able to do that and test it kind of as we're going through the process was really critical. And it was actually successful enough that we're still using it today, the product. So it's not one of those things where you've got to go through this long agile waterfall approach and connect the dots, and it takes forever. These are tools that you can build live on the fly. So yeah.
Excellent. The live component, event driven, the streaming, the reactionary scenarios that come into the daily workload is now part of the development process. If they let it, right? I mean, that's the whole point. Is what do you mean? All right. So, Tom.
Sure. Well, 2 points here. One, just picking up on this theme of the pandemic and how live application design and development could help many industries. The food production is critical. There were many supply chain challenges, and I saw some firsthand, development of what needed to be, agile. And that's the second point I'd like to make is we've been talking as an industry about agile for a long time, but this is the real agile. The live application and development is what we meant all along by agile. So now we're calling it what, hyper agile. But no, it's very dynamic and very exciting. You know, we are not all technically oriented in IT, but it's hard to think of anyone who doesn't use technology and who hasn't said, I just wish my app would do this, or I need this additional piece of information to do my job. And when you have an environment where you allow citizen development, and then people get what they need to do their jobs. And that has been, again, one of those eye openers in seeing this technology and this methodology put to use.
Okay. Adam? Did Adam hear me?
Adam's on mute. There you go.
It had to happen, huh?
Take two, go.
So we've got a test environment, so we build directly into test environment in the live environment, so we don't wireframe or anything. We build it because a big red band across the top, and then once all the testing is done, then we can push it to live. So that helps clients to really understand and see what the application is going to do, as opposed to looking at a wireframe. But the big challenge is making sure that what goes out in subsequent iterations are up to business spec and so on. So we're really strict around having that gatekeeper to say, okay, well, right, let's push this to live, because the downside is just getting anyone to be able to push, live solutions through. And if it's a financial system or really a business critical system, it could cause challenges. So vital to have that gatekeeper in there to say, right, this is ready to go live.
Thank you. And Lance, of course, live is in class by the end of the day, right? That's about as live as it gets, right?
It's fascinating. So I teach systems analysis and design, and it's based on the traditional SDLC, which is a great baseline methodology on how to build software. And I think it's important to at least understand the tasks and process of building software. But, just to kind of summarize, we've gone from SDLC to, the 70s and 80s to object-oriented computing, which led into the client server tech in the 90s. And then agile, like Tom said, hyper agile and extreme programming. And now we have no code, low code in live. And we spent a lot of time teaching professionals how to capture the business need, how to document it as a requirement. You had the functional, non-functional. It was complex. Our process is complex. Like I just want my car to work. I don't want to understand the engine. I just don't. I want it to be an awesome car. So now we're at a point to where now we can really have conversation around design. Everyone's a designer, regardless of their background. People design things in general. And that's what the live application does for us, is it gets us right to the design. I think it allows us to accelerate our go-to-market and identify and generate value. Instead of saying, here's the business need, here's the requirement to achieve that need, I think now we can sit with our business constituents and say, what is the value of even creating this? And we all have the experiences of building systems, and the IT person has all these functions in there. And it's like, I don't need those, but I need this. Well, we can talk about this now in a live environment, and then the testing and modification, it's happening in real time. So to your point, Ed, we're talking about 8 hours. The last thing I'll say is when I got my master's in MIS in 2006, heard a lecture that back in 2006, the Google model was like, you'd get a requirement at the water cooler and be expected to have it in production by the end of the day. I think it's by lunch, by the evening. I think it's even faster than that now. And low code, no code gets us there.
Excellent. So let's go to number 4. No code, low code's been around for years. What's changed? What's that's causing its development and implementation to accelerate? We've heard a lot of points already, but expand on it any way you feel. I got Michael.
Sure. It's funny. I think we've been in this mentality of for ages, we know that we've needed to improve our business models, how we react to the evolution of business and the speed in which it's evolving. The fact that we've been been at work in person for a long time, I think it's really stifled that change because that's what we're comfortable with. We do paper-based forms and the handshakes. And if I'm reluctant to do this, but if I give COVID credit for anything, I'd like to say that it pushed the way that we do business up 5 years, and it's really made us take a step back and go, okay, business operates so quickly. We are a hybrid workforce now. We have to have the essential tools to go out and do our job. So it's you either evolve or you die as a business. And I think citizen development has really found its niche, its place in our current work environment.
Okay. Lance?
Yeah, I want to build on that, and I think Michael's right that the pandemic did accelerate the business by 5 years. I think that's a great number actually. And so when I look at the next generation workforce coming in, and these are 20 to 23-year-old professionals in a classroom, and they don't have any concrete experience, but yet I tell them, you're a technologist, you have your mobile device, you know how to download an app, and many of you have ideas and you go code, and because you're able to almost leverage technology that already exists in terms of objects. So there's always search in most applications. You're presenting data, and now what I like to do is say, but let's get into how humans make decisions. Like, what does that problem solving look like? And we have a bunch of different industries represented here, and I know we're going to dive deeper into some of the questions that we have on board. I'm fascinated with what information people need, and how does low code, no code enable getting that information faster and smarter. I agree. Like we don't have to be like, we're here virtually. Although I really did want to go to Vegas, Ed, when you called me up. But aside from that, I mean, how cool is it that we can come together right now for this hour, share ideas, promote this out, and then we continue to collaborate. We're going to grow a lot faster. So I just want to kudos, Michael. I'm with you. I think the pandemic did accelerate how we do business by at least 5 years.
I like your point there about, I mean, I've heard different terms, fireside chats. I have this image of 6 kids, 20-year-olds, right? In a room all looking at this, but they're like, did that work? And they're talking back and forth, and they don't even know that they're actually executing an implementation plan by finding out all the terms that we use. They don't think anything about it. I got Mark, you want to contribute?
Take two. So in the space that we play, which is in the data world, it's almost become necessity, right? So we live in this world where everything's dependent on data. Organizations run off of anywhere from 10 to 20 SaaS-based companies. So you have all this data that's distributed across the enterprise, and it becomes really difficult for organizations to grow and in scale. So I think that level of distribution of data is really kind of accelerating why this stuff is so important. For us, the reason why I think the solutions and the technology has grown so rapidly, like in the last 4 to 5 years, is standardization. So a lot of the data sources and APIs and ways that you connect information is all kind of consolidating into certain different certain protocols and authentication methods. So I think that really kind of accelerates the growth, which is fun to see. And I think the next force multiplier is really going to be around AI. The solutions to intelligently build, test, and monitor are just going to continue to get more intelligent and be able to grow on their own. And so I think that's kind of the next wave that I see happening now.
Well, the next topic really geared towards integration and operability challenges. It's what does it mean to you, and making everything work together. So have at it, Ajay, please. Oh, I'm sorry.
Yes.
Go ahead.
One of the things that a little bit about the previous question, I wanted to mention something, and I'll go to this. So, all of being in healthcare for so long, one of the things that we've talked about in healthcare for a long time, 10, 15, 20 years, was telehealth, right? And the challenge is that, patients didn't want to go to, they wanted to go see the doctor. They had that. And then the doctors, they didn't want to do it because they were set in their ways. And so along comes COVID, right? And then the world changed overnight. And so here we are. We don't want to go out. We're stuck at home, right? We don't want to go out. And the doctors are like, okay, we need to make, they realize they may not get paid if they don't have appointments. So they're now incentivized. So they will start reaching out and going, we need to make sure we have a solution quickly. And so telehealth was one thing that, changed overnight. I mean, telehealth went 10, 15 years into the future, for all of us in healthcare. So healthcare IT really, really, went to the future. One of the things that, again, a low code solution that we tried out, throughout the initial months of the pandemic, one of the things that we saw was we needed to make sure we're trying to save PPE, and physicians going into ICUs, they would have to then come out, they'd have to change, they have to put on new PPE, et cetera, and then have to go on. So one way to be able to do that, we started developing a low-code virtual rounding solution, and that was a big change, and we did that literally overnight, and that was something that really had a practical solution to something, and it was, I have never seen agile work the way it is in healthcare than it happened. I mean, everybody in the organization, whether it was mine or anybody else's, was working, long days and short nights, because this, all said and done, people, sad to say, they were dying through telehealth, and their families got to, so there was a huge empathetic situation happening there, right? And families saw their family members breathe their last through telehealth. So low code, real solutions. The challenges that healthcare has in terms of integration, a lot of these point solutions, these smaller organizations, they feel that integration with the EMR is a huge lift for them. And so I remember one particular vendor said, well, it's on our roadmap. We can probably think about it over the next 2 years. And I'm thinking, that's an opportunity for a low code solution, and so that is something definitely that, we have seen in real life. One of the things that, challenges for us is a lot of times we'll have vendors that, their presentation doesn't match the reality that we sometimes see. I see some of you nodding your head. You've gone through that before, right? And so that's the challenge, because we're trying to, when we finally get the solution, maybe somebody in operations has worked on it, we realize there's more work for us than met the eye. And so, I mean, typically those challenges that you see every day, HL7 is used in medical coding for sending messages from point A to point B for all your your patient information. So anytime you log into your phone app, you see that, and you're interacting with your physician. That's a lot of that is done through the HL7 code. So I mean, those are the things that I think low code and no code can really make a difference, and move healthcare by leaps and bounds. Just like that, just like the initial days of the pandemic, that taught us how to be agile, and had everybody together.
Hey guys, I just want to be upfront with you. I can see that we have technically 16 minutes to go, and we've got 6 questions to go, and I could talk about the same one for the next hour, but I know that we can't.
I want to hit that, right?
But we can have other ones. But I'll try. I think we'd just go through as many as we can here. So Ryan, can you add to what Ajay was talking about?
No, I mean, as I mentioned earlier, and I'll keep it really brief. Our role is basically to automate the inbound and outbound payments, and we operate in a wide array of different industries and platforms. So we have to basically meet that technology platform where they're at. And so whether it is no code all the way through fully embedded technology. And so what, kind of going off what we talked about earlier, the pandemic has also opened up brand new industries that really never experienced like the whole payment digitization evolution, and they're experiencing right now. So it's really challenged our team of engineers to create these intuitive, lightweight integration toolkits to allow, that full automation in a low to no code environment. And so, platform and, interoperability challenges, we're introduced with that each day. And I think it's exciting because it continues to force us to really lean in and, and innovate our own platform.
Tom?
Well, just like most industries in agriculture, we really do work in silos. And what I think is important is that the no-code methodology allows people in different parts of the value chain and supply chain to share information, but to get the information they need to do their job. So, for example, a change in weather in the Midwest, the temperature goes up, animals don't eat as much. That's going to slow them down. It's going to affect the processing plant. So we have these challenges all the time in agriculture where the data are very variable. And one of the things that I really came to appreciate about the no-code, low-code methodology is that it's more about the data. In other words, people want the processes and the IT tools, the apps to do what they need to do, the processes to do their job, but the common denominator all comes back to the data. And what I found is that the tools that are now available for developing low-code, no-code really take advantage of the structures of databases, things like security. All these things are sort of built in and taken care of. The citizen developer doesn't need to worry about coding for user access, or this still resides in the IT role. The other thing that I've seen is that it really facilitates conversation in companies. In other words, we're creating a culture, an environment where people are sharing the information they need to do their jobs and getting the things they need faster. This changes the culture in companies where the old way of doing things is to go through a long process before you get the changes to the software that you need. So I don't think it's necessarily any different in agriculture, but I do think we have some unique challenges in our industry.
Edward?
Go ahead.
Yeah, hi. Just an add-on to previous ideas and comments. So we work with many different industries. So one of the expertise that we have is actually about compliance. So in addition to those industries that we talk about, we also seen different examples in automotive, defense, food and beverage, energy. These are heavily regulated industries when we think about it. And compliance is actually changing. So change is part of the business process that we've been talking about. And that is one of the advantages actually of the low code in terms of compliance as well. It is because compliance may change for food and beverage, it may change for pharmaceutical, it may change for automotive. And these change reflects on the business processes. And any business process, in simple terms, consists of forms and the flows, right? The form is where we put together the data, and flow is how to get the job done, the step that we need to take. We basically digitize and automate that process. So now, just like mentioned earlier, any quality manager or compliance manager right now just simply roll up their sleeves, and with the drag and drop environment, they can put together those forms. If the form already exists, they can actually reflect those changes based on the compliance requirements on the form, and then the flow as well. So that's another thing. So there is no IT support needed. There is no big software project needed. Just what needs to be done. Roll up your sleeves and then put your hands on the system and drag and drop. Basically, no code needed. So that's that is actually a revolution if you think about it. And what low code actually provides is actually that freedom. Actually sets professionals free in terms of putting things together for business process digitization and automation. And it is also a great advantage for leaders of our times when we think about it. Because just briefly, I'll just mention, because of COVID, things change a lot. We talk about remote work, hybrid work, as well as the shortage in workforce. So now we need to focus on things that's really important for the company, and we need to automate as much as possible. This automation actually, literally, we can put these things on the low-code environment that we see in compliance. Managers do it, quality control associates do it. They are not engineers, basically. They are just putting their hands on the system, and they make it happen. As well as even junior level, entry-level employees who just join the workforce, they can do these things quickly and automated. So that's a great advantage in this day of age for any company.
Good segue. Next question. Building more with less. So thank you. But I was thinking about you, so that you got it. But building more with less, I mean, when for a long time that was almost a negative connotation of something that the company wasn't doing well, that we've got to pull it together. But that's not the case, really. It's being more efficient and using and being aware of everything that we're talking about today. So, well, how does a company reconcile between building with less and maintaining control of all these system changes that we just outlined? I got Michael. I'm sorry. Is it Michael? Ajay, sorry, my bad. Ajay?
No problem. No, in this really, having not had too much in terms of in healthcare with low code, no code, we have a very stringent change management process. That's especially, we just heard about compliance. Just like finance and some others, we have very stringent. Being able to know what changes there are. So we have that regular change management. But with anything that we work with, we would want to make sure that this is a question we'll ask of all our vendors, and I'm pretty sure that my fellow healthcare providers will say the same thing, is we'd want to make sure we have things like audit logs and what was done, in any application or any software, et cetera, that we use. Those are the things that will be important, especially, in terms of maintaining control of system changes. At least that's the input that I would have on that.
Okay, Michael.
So I like the thought of building more with less, but I kind of want to approach it in a different light. Citizen development actually allows us to build more with more, because now what we're doing is we're actually empowering a whole new set of developers out there to build all these one-off solutions that, quite honestly, that's 90% of what we need in business. So as long as we have the appropriate governance, the standards, the guidelines, a good solid relationship with our IT department, our strategy, we can build more with more, and we're still doing it for less. If you think about it, I mean, traditional citizen development costs a third to develop it, takes a third of the time. So the benefits are definitely there.
I think with 6 minutes left here, let's move to the next one: financial benefits to a company that uses no code, low code. And Adam, since you've got the special trophy there, how about if you start us off with that? Here, let's see the trophy again.
Let's try and get it in
the
there.
major award, right? And for those of you who weren't on the topic earlier, I'll let you say it, Adam.
Yeah, so it's the Microsoft South Africa Partner of the Year Award, ISV Partner of the Year. But yeah, in terms of the financial side, yeah, it's really using juniors to be able to develop quicker and more efficiently. I just want to touch on another thing really quickly. So I think we've all established that the development can be really quick, and the integration, the APIs and so on. On the ground, our biggest challenge is those compliance officers that Kevin was talking about, legal and so on. And maybe they weren't involved in the project from day one, but that's where the longest time takes. It's not the development. I think we've all established development can be quickly, but then we need to integrate into teams. Where's, who's going to approve this and so on. And if that was sped up from the beginning of a project, that would really help us to develop a lot quicker. So it's just a on the ground practical challenge that we have to rolling out a project really swiftly.
I think, yeah, that's another this topic here, we could take and expand on this in other discussions, because you got the financial benefits of the corporation that is trying to produce the feed and the food and is having to deal with all the compliance and the labels and the raw materials. And then there's us, right? That are trying to do the implementations and the development, and so we're both, there's financial benefits to both. And Adam, my bad. Lance, maybe you could talk a little bit about that in regards to the education world and what you guys are sharing, in the class, why am I learning this? What is this going to do for me when I get out?
Yeah, I think it's going to help somebody that gets a degree in computer science or MIS to really develop that business acumen to one, even care about costs. I try to explain cost center, revenue center, and I do come back ultimately to the value, but the financial benefit at the end of the day is you're more what the tasks that a traditional IT professional would do is now being transferred to the business unit. You're giving them the tool to develop their idea. Now, as an MIS person, I think our role changes. We can coach. We can focus on the other harder problems around making sure the security is always, at the top quality. We can look at the data management piece. We can look more at strategy and the tasks of having to capture the requirements and design the system go away. So the overall financial benefit, it's actually probably going to, it depends on what your technology stack you pick, what process you end up implementing. But it does ultimately, I think, integrate the business, bring it closer, and the IT function is just not out. It's not a barrier anymore. It's something that people, I think, will soon appreciate even more because they are now doing some of those tasks. I think someone even said earlier, everyone's almost a technologist in this day and age. Actually, it was you, Edward. You were talking about how this generation coming up, just the way they think already. They've had these tools their entire life, so it's already really intuitive to them.
Mark? I think you would be a great asset to this question here.
Yeah, for us, it's pretty simple. I think the way in which we look at it. So I'll be pretty brief on this one. It's really speed to market. So there's the ways in which you can do things that I used the term abstraction before. The more of the details that you can kind of peck away and make commoditized, you can bring new products and solutions to market much faster. That's really the value that I see. There's other ancillary value that comes from that and time savings and things like that, but that's speed to market is to me critical.
If I could just add really, I know we're at time, but just really quickly, I wanted to add. So for the folks that are actually looking for hard numbers, so I looked at, we built 4 apps to support the project managers across the enterprise. They've been used for about 4 years now. They've got an audience, end users, about 1,300 folks. It cost roughly $386,000 in development time, salary to build the apps. We've returned 1.2 million personnel hours back to the company, and in process and time savings, it's been about $57 million. So I think, as pioneers, as strategists, we have to express that to our senior level folks, because again, they want to see those ones and zeros. I'm absolutely in agreement that the unmeasurable benefits are just enormous, but that's what we've been able to do as far as numbers.
Yeah, that was impressive when we talked. Of course, that was for 2 or 3 hours. So.
Edward, can I just give an example in terms of financial benefits?
Let me, but in case we lose people, I just want to say that the questions that are here, I'm gonna read those out and then make it available to people for them to interact with us, and I'll shoot those out to you guys, and maybe we can continue our discussions remotely and texting. But yes, go ahead. Sorry, Kevin.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you very much. So, well, when we talk about business process management, let's be a little bit specific, right? So it depends on what we are talking about. Some things actually we can really measure the return on investment in terms of low code pretty straightforward. So it depends on what we do. So one of our expertise is, for example, asset and maintenance management, right? So maintenance means any asset that you have. In IT world, you have servers, you have equipment. In a maintenance, in a manufacturing environment, you have machinery, equipment. If you have fleet, you have fleet of trucks, cars, for example. You need to maintain them. And if you don't use technology, basically you keep spending and you keep maintaining, it's hard to keep track, right? So that's what we see, for example, in terms of asset and maintenance management. Once you use the low-code technology to manage your preventive maintenance and predictive maintenance operations, you apply it in the low-code environment, you save time and you save money. And the savings are, we learn from our clients, for example, when they apply this technology, 20% reduction in the maintenance cost, for example, regardless of what you do, right? Could be a manufacturing environment, could be a facility maintenance operations, and so on. In a manufacturing environment, one of the nightmares is actually unplanned breakdown. You promise to deliver the good, you need to make the production, and you cannot stop. It's got to keep going. And if you need to stop, it needs to be planned, right? So many manufacturers that we see, by utilizing the low-code technology, by using the technology to manage their asset, preventive and predictive maintenance operations, they reduce unplanned breakdown 80 to 90%. These are big numbers, and these are big savings if we think about it. And these are, hard numbers that we learn in the marketplace. So it depends on what we apply. And when we think about maintenance, the numbers are pretty obvious in terms of the savings and the calculations.
Very nice. Excellent. Thank you. Hard numbers, and show me a spreadsheet that doesn't have a mistake.
Yeah, right? Show me the money, right? At the end of the day. That's what it does.
Well, great. Yeah. So thank you guys very much for participating and coming and bringing this together so quickly. Response has been great. I know I've kept you guys on top of just the views that we've had have been 5,000 people around the world. I mean, just insane, and just such a great topic based on who's in front of you and what part of the business, whether they're in the business sector or the IT. And I think we're going to have a great year coming up. So, thank you again for taking the time out of your day, and congratulations, Adam, and Ryan. Thank you, everybody.
Yep.
And again, I'll send these out. Any parting word? That's not a good word to use. Party as a party.
Well, I just wanted to thank everyone as well, and EJ, thanks for helping me pull this together. I really appreciate it. We'll send the video out, after we do some editing, kind of carve it up a little bit, but we'll send the entire video out as well. But really appreciate everyone's time and your expertise. Thank you very much.
Thanks,
Thank
everyone.
you.
See you.
Thank
Andy.
you. Bye.